Podcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live at alive. It's 71 degrees and sunny here in Los Angeles, California on stolen Tongva territory. We are live. We are alive. It is 11:04 a.m. on this beautiful morning of Thursday, June 4th, 2026. I hope everyone's having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. No China suit today. No, they're at the dry cleaners because they all came in packaged. And, of course, they got smushed up a little bit in the package. But, you know, we'll do it tomorrow, maybe. But we are live. We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what it is. This is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in the world of Hasanabi Piker in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. So help me God, that's what I'ma do. Woo! You already know, though, I'm a chud-ass loser, as always. End of the broadcast yesterday, and what did I do? End of the broadcast yesterday, and what did I do? Well, of course, I watched New York Knicks take on the Spurs. I watched the game unfold, and let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. For the longest, for almost the entire game, the Spurs were ahead by 10 points, sometimes 7 points, sometimes 13. And then, that man, Jalen fucking Brunson, that man, where does he get the authority? Where does he get the power? What is holding the New York Knicks together? That's the question we will try to address today, because I think it's voodoo. I'll say it. I think New York has had it far too good for far too long. Will Neff will say it's the power of friendship. But is it the power of friendship that caused Zohran Mamdani's electoral victory as the mayor of New York to go up against such tremendous odds? Is that what it is? Is it socialism? Is it the proletariat rising up? What is it that New York gets to have it all, and we here, the tireless, dispossessed masses, get nothing but crumbs? How is this possible? Why? Why? Why is it allowed? Does New York have the mandate of heaven? Not the mandate of heaven, but the date, the Mamdani date of heaven. How do they get to have working public infrastructure, potholes filled, 200,000 new units being constructed, Mamdanistan is alive and well, everyone's having fun in the goddamn city, and what are we doing? What are we to do, the rest of the country? There are hundreds of millions of us, and we must suffer every fucking day.
Jalen is my doctor, he's my engineer, believe in the Knicks, he's my mechanic, he's my subway driver, he's my pilot, he's my dad. Everything I get, that's what Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, he's my everything. Because I do believe this year is our year and nobody's telling me nothing. Jalen Brunson, he's my everything. Because I do believe Jalen Brunson's my...
It's unbearable, man. It's unfucking bearable. California is left counting ballots to make sure we don't accidentally elect fucking Republican cranks while New York parties in the streets. That's how I feel. That's how I felt last night. Look, I love Wembanyama. I think the Spurs are a great team. I feel like they're the underdog. Like, I have to root for them. It's ironic to say this about the NBA, because the Spurs are objectively not the underdog against the Knicks. The Knicks are the underdog team. Last time they're in the finals is 1999 against the Spurs. Once again, haven't won anything in decades, right? At least the Spurs have a chip, far closer to 2026 than the Knicks do, right? But it is fucked up. It is fucked up how much New York is up. And I'm sick and tired of it. I'll just say it. When New York is up, it makes me feel like we're down. Okay? When New York is up, it feels like we are all down by comparison. Wembanyama struggling against Cat. Where's the Jalen Brunson stopper? Where was it? They tried to injure him. They tried to play physical ball. They tried to destroy Jalen Brunson. Twice. And he said, "I'm Teflon, baby." It's fucked up again. Fucked up. Fucked up. Actually fucked up. Mero, living your dream? Yeah, no, Mero, someone in the chat said Mero brings all his bitches to the same spot. Is true. Look, you guys might recognize this little corner. Because Mero has got one motherfucking spot in the city that it seems he brings all of his besties to. Where was my invite, Mero? Guess it got lost in the mail. No, I'm just kidding. I thought we were special. I thought we had something. I thought we had vibes. I thought you were showing me your secret spot. It turns out this spot is ran through. You're taking everybody there. You're taking everybody there. You got Daria Lisa. You got Zohran. Messed up. Messed up. Both Trump and Zohran are going to be at Game 3. Yeah, you know who else is going to be in the same arena? Me.
It's going to be in town next week.
I will also be inside of Madison Square Garden on Game 3. Donald Trump, Zohran Mamdani, I will be there as well. This will probably be the first time that I am ever in the same area, in the same space as the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. Ain't no way you getting in if Trump is there. No, that's not how that works, okay?
For the next game, are you planning to meet with him when he's in town at any point?
Yeah, I can tell you that I'm planning to go to a Knicks game. I will be at Game 3. I will be in a very different section of the stadium. And I think we look forward to welcoming any New Yorker who is excited for the Knicks to have that chance to win that championship.
President Donald Trump is going to be in town next week for the Knicks game. Are you planning to meet with him when he's in town at any point?
You know, I can tell you that I'm planning to go to.
Don't do it, don't go. James Dolan has you on the list. Three top 5 picks, best players since Wilt Champagne, legacy game, the power of friendship. I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, look, they did it. They did it. The Spurs were dominant. The Spurs were dominant as fuck. Okay? The Spurs were unbelievably dominant throughout the process, and then third quarter, things start changing. And you're like, how is this? What's going on? What the hell's going on? How did they catch up? And then by fourth quarter, it was, I mean, let's be real. Wembanyama was brick city. I don't know why he was laying bricks. I don't know what the hell happened. Everybody was bricked the fuck up. I've never seen desperation kick in so hard. I've never seen desperation kick so hard for such a successful team. Cat carried them. Wemby is young. Yeah, he couldn't put up. Big purr. Big purr. He did. He did. This also makes Holmgren look so much worse. Chet and Yahoo. This makes him look way worse overall, because like he made Wemby look like a god, which, you know, I mean, he is, right? But it turns out he is defeatable. Like, he is man. He is still man. He is not just a god, an alien, a freak, but he can still bleed like a man. And bleed he did. So we shall see how Wemby comes back. Obviously, anytime he gets hit in the face, he comes back extra strong. He unlocks some kind of, like, you know, secret monk knowledge that he got in a monastery somewhere, where he just like has that dog in him. He taps in, and he usually comes back with a vengeance. We saw this with the Thunder. But I will admit, watching Wemby get bitched around a little bit, it hurt. It hurt right here. It hurt in my soul, in my heart, in my mind. I guess we just gotta get used to things like that. I mean, I saw my GOAT LeBron get swept by the Thunder already. That was devastating. Now I just have to sit there and watch Wembanyama have to deal with Cat, and it's not great. I will tell you, it's like we already have so little in this country. It feels like New York has everything. Why can't the rest of the country have a little bit? Just the crumbs. What happened to socialism? What happened to redistributive policies? What happened to egalitarianism as a concept? What happened? Why does New York get to have it all? It turns out New York said socialism in one city, socialism in one nation, no international socialism. Socialism in one city, no permanent revolution, no permanent proletarian revolution, certainly no international revolution, just socialism in one place and one place only. We get to have all the goods. We get to have all of the expansive social safety nets. We get to have a walkable city public infrastructure expenditures. And now, Knicks in the finals. It's unbearable. Folks, it is unbearable. Unfollowing for this trot take. Chill. 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 At least the rest of the country gets to have certain things. Like South Dakota. South Dakota gets to have Toby Dirty in the gubernatorial race in the general, which, as you know, that's my boy. I'm supporting Toby Dirty. And Los Angeles, what do we get? What do we get in the state of formerly known California, now known as CATTLE-FORNIA? What do we get? What do we get? Big dumps. A long and convoluted voter tabulation process. Diarrhea forever. Everyone gets a puppy on the one side, diarrhea forever on the other. And we choose diarrhea forever. I guess we get good weather, even though climate change is taking that away as well. Oh, my Lord. What do we get? Why are New Yorkers making everybody jealous outside?
Let me get a brunch of egg and cheese. Hold the dick and balls, you are? That ass, bro. Make my shit right, you are? That ass, bro. For me, that's the king of New York, you feel me? Yo, Og, let me get a brunch of egg and cheese. Hold it.
A brunch of egg and cheese. It's true. It's true. Unbearable. Unbelievable. Is fucked up, and I'm sick and tired of it. Check previous. You need to see this. Please watch Bosnia's official World Cup song, most Balkan thing you've ever seen. Okay, we'll look at it in a little bit. House War Powers vote. California dumps. I'm homophobic. Question mark. Lego madness. Epstein's Fury Day 97. War's back on. Knicks won. Get in now. New York Times is about to drop a big story on Platner. Yeah, I know. And the big story, I've gotten some details on. There's some speculation that it's about a right-wing operative, ironically enough. But the New York Times, of course, is gonna. Did you cop one yet? The Means Workwear? Yes, I did. I did cop it, of course. Did you see what happened in Pasadena last night? What happened? Video from Pasadena?
Councilmember Rick Cole here in front of the former St. Luke's Hospital, where the U.S. Army is conducting a training exercise in urban warfare. As you can hear, flashbangs and simulated gunfire going on. They're going to be going on for the next half an hour, we're told. It's 1 a.m. and we're in the middle of what is normally a quiet residential neighborhood. Homes literally across the street with people trying to sleep. The Ranger helicopter just dropped soldiers on the
What the hell?
They're simulating an attack on the building, and this is going to go on for a while, and good luck to the people that have got to get up and go to work tomorrow morning.
Why are they training inside of American cities? I mean, urban warfare training is a normal part of the process, but why are they training inside of an actual American urban environment rather than simply training at the training facilities where they have set up urban environments? Is that, I mean, maybe it's normal. I don't know. Bro, these motherfuckers really don't give a fuck about poor neighborhoods in California. Goddamn. Wait, Pasadena is not a poor neighborhood. That's why it's crazy. Pasadena is actually a very wealthy neighborhood, not a poor one. Pasadena is rich. Patrick Bet David, the numbers guy, was brain broken by Mehdi. You were mentioned. I know. I am aware. This happened a couple days ago. Mehdi told me already. We will be watching. We will be watching. Don't you worry. I'm a numbers guy gets defeated. I'm a numbers guy gets defeated by the real debate guy who doesn't ChatGPT it, but he doesn't grok it. But we'll take a look at it. You know, obviously, I'm a numbers guy. So yeah, a lot going on in the world. We are going to be talking about it. We are going to be ChatGPTing it. We're going to be doing the numbers. No blast off on Insta. Yes, there is a blast off on Insta 25 minutes ago, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I did hear Democracy Now! Talk about me this morning while I was listening, which was an interesting experience. And I will be on Democracy Now! Tomorrow, so that'll be even more interesting when I hear myself on Democracy Now! Democracy Now! The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Okay. Anyway, we're blasting off, ladies and gentlemen. Before I forget, we're blasting off. Javier Bardem reposted me? Shut up. Pegasus cooked you? Hell yeah. Pegasus is back. Pegasus needs to worry about the Singaporean government coming after him. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, we're going to do Politico. Hold on. Politico, I did an interview with. Pegasus Dick Riders in the chat. Shameless. Even The Economist was defending you and Jake against the UK visa revocation. Yeah, we got the Times article as well. By the way, I don't think you guys understand. This is a very conservative newspaper. The Times is a very conservative newspaper. So the fact that the Times actually had me on their front page and a photo of me with the Queen with X's on her eyes is wild. This is the type of shit that these guys actually do care about. Okay, that's like exactly the type of shit that they care about, that they get mad about. Remember, these are the good times, the golden era of the Hasanabi broadcast. Can we get a gay rights to beat the homophobia? Yes, gay rights and gay wrongs. I do believe that this visa revocation actually backfired, because I think there is a limit. There's a limit to like what these guys find to be appropriate as far as limiting speech. If you do that to like Kanye West, who is like a fairly indefensible figure because of, you know, his admiration, his expression of admiration for Adolf Hitler, obviously, like not a lot of people are going to criticize or complain. But when you do this to, you know, a political commentator who has actively fought back against anti-Semitism, against like against right-wing forces in general, I think people look at that and go, all right, this is a bridge too far. This is fucked up. Because it's super basic. This is one of the easiest bars to clear, and yet, of course, a lot of the right-wing charlatans have not been able to clear this unbelievably simple bar, which is if I'm getting barred entry into the UK, then I mean, what are we doing? Everyone is, right? Javier Bardem reposted Assange's speech on his Instagram story. Oh my God. We're going places. Yeah, I think the Oxford clip of you calling out anti-Semitism really broke through. They're using it to show how stupid I. They're using that to show how stupid I was. What do you mean you were? You got more publicity than if you were just in the country. Zach Polanski reposts as well. Yeah, because it is stupid. It's stupid. To do this to someone like myself is unbelievably stupid, right? Because, like, I'm not an anti-Semite. I fight back against anti-Semitism all the fucking time. So obviously when you turn around and you're like, hey, this guy was actually in the country, like not that long ago, and he was supposed to go to the Oxford Union. He was at the Oxford Union not that long ago, a year ago, and he was straight up fucking talking about the dangers of like rising anti-Semitism. All of a sudden, it destroys the counter narrative. It destroys the argument that like I'm this dangerous anti-Semite, because that's what they've been running with, right? Why do you care about the Oxford Union? It's literally just a temple to bourgeois free speech idolization. Do you think the UK would let a trans woman use the women's restroom if she was Israeli? What? Are you okay, chatter? I mean, free speech is still an important value that I care about. I'm not going to just cast that aside by saying it's just mere bourgeois idolization. It's fucking idiotic. Especially because not only is it a value that I care about, not only is it a right that I would defend, but it's also one that we need to have, okay? That we need to maintain. You need to stop being fucking weird, okay? You need to always exhaust all readily available options, okay? And free speech and free speech protections is one of those very important principles that liberal society is supposed to defend. Are you not afraid? Be real? No, of course not. I mean, it sucks. It's annoying, but obviously I'm not fucking afraid, dude. What do you mean? This is my life. This is what I signed on to do, okay? I know that it's not going to be easy. When you're fighting for something worth fighting for, of course they're going to make it as difficult as possible for you. But you can't, you can't give up. You know, you can't give in. It's that simple. I will not let them fucking win. And I hope that the way that I keep pushing through offers more moral clarity and more courage to others as well. You have to be stubborn about these issues. There have been many times. There have been many instances where I've thought about quitting, right? Over the last couple of years. Why the fuck would I do it now? Why would I do it now? When the collective consciousness has shifted on this key issue. Guardian wrote another article. Arwa Mahdawi wrote, why is Hasan Piker not conducive to the public good? Because on Gaza, we punish the witness, not the crime. It's ironic because, again, this is a photo from The Guardian, when they wrote a profile on me in The Guardian. So like all this other stuff that they've written about me is now coming back to haunt the British government. This is why I do all of the media whenever they ask me to do it. This is why I call it terrorism insurance, right? Ironically enough, I know that eventually, if you're using your speech in a way that is disruptive to the established hierarchies that want to maintain the structural violence, want to maintain the structural violence of poverty, want to make sure that the system continues as usual, no matter who is suffering in the crosshairs, eventually they're going to come for you. Eventually they're going to come for all of us. So all of this anti-Semitism insurance, terrorism insurance from ahead of time is now coming back to haunt the British government and maybe the American government as well if they try to move in a similar direction. But it's good. It's important to hold firm in moments like this. Keep fighting for each other and not against each other. Yeah. Anyway, the Times also wrote this article. Hasan Piker, the UK banned me for criticizing Israel, is discussing one of America's most influential left-wing streamers, tells the Times of his disdain at being put in the same category as Kanye West. Hasan Piker, an American socialist influencer with more social media followers than most European newspapers, had his tour of British institutions mapped out, a debate at Oxford Union, a speech at South by Southwest London Festival, then possibly a photo shoot at the tomb of Karl Marx at Highgate Cemetery. That was what I was supposed to do with the Times, ironically enough. We were supposed to do a Times interview, and then they were going to shoot me at Karl Marx's tomb. However, his plans were put on hold when Shabana Mahmoud, the Home Secretary, banned him from entering the country on the basis that his intense criticism of Israel meant his presence in Britain may not be conducive to the public good. Piker is not the first contrarian figure to be given this treatment in the past few months. The Home Office has revoked the entry visas of a dozen celebrities on the other end of the political spectrum, including American rapper Kanye West, Slavomir Mensin, one of the leaders of the Confederation, a radical right-wing Polish party. However, Piker, who spends 8 hours a day streaming to his followers from a mansion in Los Angeles, is appalled by the implicit comparison. I think it's disgusting because I've opposed the far right and all manner of reactionary thought my entire life, and I will continue to do so, Piker, 34, told the Times. I find anti-Semitism to be morally repugnant. I've spoken out against anti-Semitism extensively and all sorts of bigotries, really, Islamophobia, transphobia, and the like. To be categorized in the same vein as an anti-Semite and a person who's openly stated that they admire Adolf Hitler is disgusting, Piker said, but I think the reason why they're doing that is to create at least some kind of ideological parity. This is something that liberals love doing. They love to make it seem like there are extremists on both sides, and they oppose extremism on both sides. Piker does not believe his views are extreme. Instead, he is adamant that it is precisely because they are not silly that they caused a stir. He would vote for Hamas over Israel. Piker is described by online trolls as the intellectually destitute person's idea of a clever person. To others, he is the left's riposte to prolific manosphere influencers such as Andrew Tate. In the attention economy, controversy is a currency in its own right, and Piker is an accomplished provocateur. He once notoriously said the U.S. deserved the 9/11 terror attacks because of its military interventions in the Middle East, including its support for Israel. He defended the Chinese annexation of Tibet and once suggested that Dan Crenshaw, a Republican congressman and Navy SEAL veteran, had lost his eye to some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier. However, he's best known for his tirades against Israel, which he described in a previous Oxford Union speech as an apartheid state and a settler colonial entity that was conducting genocide against the Palestinian people. Remember, this is a right-wing newspaper. Of course, they're going to write like this. Why is this on Ibger? Because it's virtually impossible to fucking get the article. There's a serious paywall. And I don't think we can actually boom the paywall at all. The Tibet annexation, really? Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna hold back, you know? They're gonna make me look like a dangerous guy or dangerous radical, whatever. Doesn't matter. Zwing Thomas, thank you for the 22 gifted subs. Cover this vote to fuse Israeli and U.S. militaries in Congress right now? I know. We are. I have covered it already, and I will continue to cover it. Yes. Massively important vote happening live, link below on the question of effectively merging the Israeli and U.S. militaries. I know. So, where were we? However, he's best known for his tirades against Israel, which he described in a previous Oxford speech as an apartheid state and a settler colonial entity that was conducting genocide against the Palestinian people. Piker also said in a podcast that he would vote for Hamas over Israel every single time. He claimed his remark was a thought experiment intended to highlight that once a group was designated as a terrorist organization, a vague definition to deny habeas corpus in America, the conversation was effectively over. He disagrees with the characterization of Hamas and Hezbollah as anti-Semitic, maintaining that they are nationalist anti-colonial movements. Are there atrocities that have taken place in the hands of Hamas? Absolutely. Are there war crimes? Certainly, Piker said. Having said that, however, there is no analysis that you can conduct about the reasoning behind why Hamas was formed, how it has evolved over the years in its militancy, going from exclusively targeting military targets to civilian targets, to many conversations that have taken place within the Palestinian resistance about the efficacy of targeting civilians beyond the morality of it. I obviously find it immoral unconditionally, but I'm talking from their perspective, right? Piker said he had resorted to provocative language on the subject, such as claiming that Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel, in the hopes of forcing liberals to discuss the moral balance between Israel and Hamas. He disagrees with the characterization of Hamas and Hezbollah as anti-Semitic, maintaining that they are... Wait, what is this? Oh, this is the same thing again. Okay, never mind. UK just as vicious as America. The decision to bar Piker from the UK shocked to him. Well, he makes no secret of the fact that he is not a liberal, not least because he rejects the notion that people are free to accumulate wealth. He said he thought Europe would have more respect for free expression than Turkey, where he grew up. I've always believed, perhaps falsely, that especially Europe has had a commitment to this fundamental humanitarian principle of free speech, he said. That in spite of the disagreements, no matter what, as long as someone is not genuinely inciting hatred or trying to actively foment violence, that most reasonable people in governments, especially in Europe, will always say, look, these are disagreements that we have, but it's a little ridiculous to deny them their opportunity to speak. After Trump's MAGA movement took power, he said, many conversations in the U.S. shifted towards where people might escape if things go really bad. Hassan's father advised him that Britain could potentially provide asylum. I kept telling him that's not going to happen because they are just as vicious, if not more vicious, than America, he said. This is the country that has offered shelter to many thinkers who were even considered radical at the time. For that country to decide, no, I think you're far too dangerous to come speak here, I think that's a sign of the times. Cockroach Nigel Farage. Piker traces Britain and America's political trajectory to the Thatcher-Reagan era, which he says trapped the left in culture wars, austerity, and privatization while creating fertile ground for populists. That's why you see the likes of Nigel Farage, who almost like a cockroach, he said, you just cannot get away. He's withstood numerous atom bombs at this point that would have destroyed any other person's career. The Brexit fiasco, or even literally almost dying in a plane crash. Reform is an objectively fascist far-right party. That didn't happen overnight. I do think that the Labour Party has played a formative role in the development of fascist politics in this country because of their inability to address the economic crisis that people were facing. The same problems exist in the Democratic Party. Piker claims capitalism has long outlived its usefulness as a progressive force in history and will evolve into either socialism or barbarism. He believes the West is moving towards the latter. Fascists, he says, may preserve the capitalist order only through unbelievable levels of state repression, as frustration with wealth inequality grows. Life of a jet setter. He does not see this as a contradiction with his wealth. Parker's Los Angeles home, worth more than $3 million and funded almost entirely through audience donations, sits in an affluent, predominantly white neighborhood within walking distance from the U.S.'s oldest Holocaust museum. He is known for his frequent travel, designer clothing, and dating adult film performers. He acknowledges an immensely privileged upbringing, despite his family's later financial difficulties. As the son of Turkish immigrants, his success reflects a version of the American dream. It feels like I won the lottery. I never thought I would have hundreds of... Where is this? Oh. It feels like I won the lottery. I never thought that I would have hundreds of thousands of fans all around the world that voluntarily give me $5 a month to watch, Piker said. I mean, I work very hard. I live stream every day for 8 hours, 7 days a week. But that's not the reason why I'm successful. I think luck played a major role in this. So I tried to advance a different understanding, a different organization of the economy overall, so that people don't have to be immensely fortunate to actually get a crumb of this American dream. Moving to the mainstream. Until recently, few would have described Piker as a mainstream figure in American politics outside inveterately online sections of the U.S. left. That changed after the Democratic Party's defeat by President Trump in the 2024 presidential election. Also, subscribe to the People's Broadcasting Service, Piker Broadcasting Service, sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people. $6 a month in your subscriptions, voluntary subscriptions, voluntary donations to support independent media is what sets this, keeps this operation afloat. Just tuned in. Is this a hit piece? Well, it's a right-wing publication, so it's you know, positioned negatively. It's in the story. WAPO racing to get it out as well. I'm hearing it's more than one woman. What is this? They're about to say Platner essayed a woman. Are you saying this as something you heard will be in the story? I don't think that that's what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked. But we'll get into all of that in a little bit when it comes out. Anyway, let's continue on this. Let's focus up. All right. Where was I? Moving on to the mainstream. While he has no formal affiliation with the party, several of his prominent left-wingers, including AOC and Ilhan Omar, have appeared on his Twitch stream in an effort to court his fan base. This has given Piker's pronouncements a measure of influence over the party, including his endorsement of socialist challenger candidates such as Zohran and Ilhan Omar, who invited him to the victory party after winning the New York City mayoral election. Piker has crossed swords with the Trump administration and Fox News, which has cataloged his more extreme statements. My opinion is the majority's opinion, and they can't arrest every single person, right? Piker said. So they try to make an example out of members of the media, prominent critics of Israel, to the best of their ability, to hopefully get others to pay attention and to create, as we like to say in America, a chilling effect on speech. After delivering humanitarian aid to Cuba with the Nuestra America convoy in March, Piker was investigated by the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control. The agency subpoenaed financial records over whether the trip breached U.S. sanctions. Piker said the probe was politically motivated and intended to circumvent his First Amendment right to free expression by pressuring him into silence. He compared it to the whole counterterrorism initiative that Sebastian Gorge's shepherding, referring to Trump's combative senior director for counterterrorism. People of all political persuasions had encouraged him to run for office over the years, Piker claims. However, he believes that doing so would ultimately be detrimental to his broader campaign to reshape the American left, and that U.S. voters are not ready for his radical brand of politics. I'm the most Oppo research content creator on the planet, he said, alluding to the practice of digging up dirt on rival politicians. I've seen what it takes to actually run and how much time and effort it takes. I feel like I can lend credibility to certain politicians that I like and actually be able to advance the movement rather than to simply run for office for one race with no guarantee that I'll win. Chad, the news didn't even drop yet you're fucking drama spiraling over what he might not have done. Shut up. I'm timing all of you out. Yeah, we're not doing the Graham Platner Oppo piece or hit piece yet. Everyone needs to fucking dial it back a million times, okay? Did you think about doing this speech via web call? Easy and effective workaround against their infamous ban? Yes, I will be. I will be doing that, as a matter of fact. I will be doing that with the Oxford Union and with Giannis Varoufakis as well. I'm doing both of those. Those are still continuing. Anyway, my interview with Politico is out. This is by Will Steeken, who is now at Politico. He reports, Hasan Piker declares, I'm not a kingmaker after his candidate struggle. Now, I don't really like the angle of this article as much because he does allude to me, pushing for Tom Steyer or Nithya Raman, which, I didn't do to the same degree as Shoykat Chakrabarti and Hamawy, obviously. But, yeah, streamer Hasan Piker hands his energy drink to producer Mauricio Miranda before going on stage to speak at the campaign event for Abdul El-Sayed, a progressive candidate in the Democratic primary. Popular socialist Twitch streamer Hasan Piker erupted in excitement to his thousands of live viewers Tuesday night, declaring as the race for New Jersey's 12th congressional district was called, it's over. Adam Hamawy, Hamawy Mentum. Let's fucking go. Read it and weep. First W of the night. It would be his last of the night. Piker had campaigned hard for Hamawy in the final weeks of the race, hosting a retired U.S. Army combat surgeon, a staunch Israel critic on multiple streams, and appearing alongside him on the campaign trail in New Jersey. Hamawy's win gives Piker, one of the most sought-after political surrogates on the far left, another example to point to that his efforts can help push candidates over the line. But the three candidates he pushed in his home state of California all underperformed and lost their races, revealing some of the streamer's limitations as he looks to position himself as a new force in Democratic politics by working to convert his engaged online audience into wins for progressive and socialist candidates. Piker sought to clarify how he viewed his role after a rough night in which the Democratic establishment performed fairly strong from coast to coast. A lot of people think I'm some kingmaker, a groggy Piker said in an interview Wednesday morning after streaming for over 10 hours on Tuesday until 11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time and getting just 4 hours of sleep. But I'm not a kingmaker, and I'm very clear about that. Yeah, I only endorsed Shoykat and Adam Hamawy, so it's wrong. I did not, but he clarifies it later down. He just buries the lead. Instead, Piker said his goals with campaign is just trying to identify wonderful candidates that are more responsive to the needs of the masses and push for them and get them elected, connect them with my audience. Besides Hamawy, who also benefited from endorsements from major progressive players, including Rep. AOC and Bernie Sanders, Piker also endorsed and campaigned with Progressive House candidate Shoykat Chakrabarti, Ocasio-Cortez's former chief of staff, and hosted billionaire environmentalist, California gubernatorial candidate Tom Steyer and Los Angeles mayoral candidate Nithya Raman on a stream in recent weeks. While he never formally endorsed Steyer or Raman, Piker urged his followers to back them to block other candidates. It didn't work. Chakrabarti finished third and failed to advance in the primary's top two primary system. In the party's primary system, trailing the other more moderate Democrats. With ballots still outstanding, it appears that Steyer and Raman may meet the same fate. Piker acknowledged the limits of his reach, and as his nascent excursion into IRL politicking continues to take shape, after years of streaming for hours a day behind a computer, commenting on election results and headlines, the Twitch streamer has become not only a star in progressive politics, but also one of the most derided among more moderate Democrats and Republicans because of his history of incendiary rhetoric, including saying America deserved 9/11, comments he has since said he regrets making. I'm not able to make someone win, Piker said. I can push them over the finish line, that is for sure, but there's definitely a bump. That's what they're calling the Hasan bump. But candidates themselves have to have the fundamentals. Piker hosted Chakrabarti on a stream for an extended interview back in March, repeatedly urged his viewers to support his candidacy, and last month appeared in person at Change the Party event with Chakrabarti in San Francisco that drew hundreds of people. It is what it is. It didn't work, Piker said on stream Tuesday night, as it became clear Chakrabarti would have a bad night. When asked, Piker chalked up Chakrabarti's poor performance to a lack of local infrastructure needed to withstand a wave of corporate-backed attack ads, as well as not having the support of grassroots. Piker said he even personally made private overtures San Francisco's local Democratic Socialists of America group to urge support. Still, the group declined to back Chakrabarti, who doesn't consider himself a socialist. Still, if Tuesday was a ding on Piker's political project, it did nothing to deter him from throwing his weight around in upcoming races. His focus is already shifting to New York's upcoming primaries, where he's working to boost the New York DSA slate. That includes Daria Elisa Avila Chevalier, who Mayor Zohran Mamdani has also endorsed against Representative Adriana Espaillat, with events in the works. Now, of course, the resentment from the centrist or the center-right in the Democratic Party or the far right is not because of my fucking America deserved 9/11 comment, right? Elsewhere, Piker's support is shown to be a boost to candidates, including in the Michigan Senate, after throwing his support behind Abdullah al-Sayed and campaigning with him across the state earlier this year, injecting a jolt of attention into the progressives' campaign. Piker's involvement fueled a surge of interest in small-dollar donations, helping boost al-Sayed into serious contention in the primary, even as it triggered stark backlash from Republicans and more moderate Democrats alike. I don't have time to feel sad or even experience joy, Piker said. Wednesday, we've got more primaries coming up. That's the article. No Chris Robb mentioned. Yeah, I wonder why they're angling it this way, but I guess like they're angling it in a way where it's like, what is this? Hasan Piker confirms he will attend NBA Game Finals 3 in Madison Square Garden. Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump will also attend. Performatively booking even higher nosebleeds than Zohran. Yeah, no, it's going to be the highest of the nosebleeds. This love triangle, he needs to be careful if Trump sees Zohran laughing with him. Okay, I'm not going with Zohran. All right. Anyway, so here's the thing. The narrative that is like shaping now after a sequence of victories that didn't get as much coverage from mainstream news outlets like with Chris Robb or even Adam Hamawy, I feel like some of these guys are basically saying like, oh, you don't have the juice. You don't have the motion. And in an effort to like tie me to candidates that fail, they will obviously focus on Shoykot, but then they'll also slap on like Nithya Raman or Tom Steyer, who are very different than the types of candidates that I actually align with and actively push for. Melot Kiros is a great example of a candidate that I will be campaigning alongside. Daria Liza is another. Claire Valdez is another. The New York City DSA slate in its entirety are exactly the type of insurgencies that I identify with and align with ideologically. Shoykot, as a matter of fact, is in the category of a candidate that's not backed by the local DSA. It's unique. He was unique in that regard. And the point that I was trying to make is that due to ideological differences, due to a lack of trust with grassroots on the ground, there just wasn't enough support. There are people that I have on the broadcast that I do not endorse. There are people I have on the broadcast that I will be very critical of and will have significant disagreements with. Tom Steyer is one of those people, right? Like I didn't endorse Tom Steyer. I didn't rally with Tom Steyer. I had an opportunity to do so and I didn't do so. Like there were certain things that I was expecting from Tom Steyer that I think would have helped him out as well in the long run. And I still, I still hope that he makes it into the top two. I hope he actually pushes out the Republican, right? And here's the other side of the story. I don't just back candidates that I think are going to win. I back candidates that might be a long shot. Shoykot was a long shot, right? And I think a lot of people don't understand that, where they're like, oh, dude, you're just supposed to fucking back candidates that you know are going to win so you look good. It's like, that's not what this is about. What this is about is working to actually change the Democratic Party's internal, it's different caucuses within the party, right? To create some kind of movement, as long as, the Democrats allow us, right? Shouldn't Palestine give up and surrender to Israel? Why is Hamas sending people? I know you're a Ukraine supporter, and that's the reason why you're bringing this up. I know that you're pro-Ukraine and anti-Palestine, and that's why you're bringing this up. And maybe you haven't heard me talk about this before, but I'm in favor of a cessation of hostilities in both Ukraine and also in Palestine. The problem is that, I'm making you anti-Palestine. So you're pro-genocide now. As a pro-Ukraine guy, you're pro-genocide now because of me, because of a Twitch streamer? Interesting. Kind of feels like you actually were not that invested in the lives and livelihoods of the Palestinian population, and now you're simply looking for an out. In any case, the point is, or rather the difference is in this circumstance, that Ukraine is a sovereign state that actually has a standing military and has been able to successfully push back against the Russian forces, which is great, right? And I'm in favor of it. And Russian irredentist action in Ukraine is completely unjustifiable, and I've opposed it from the beginning. And I've been talking about the immorality of the Russian invasion. You, on the other hand, I don't think give a shit about the Israeli incursion, especially when the Israeli investment or the Israeli interest. No, I just poke you with your own hypocrisy. There is no hypocrisy. It's your stupidity. You don't understand. Israel has a different interest with the Palestinians than Russia has with Ukrainians. Okay? That's just the truth. I think the Russian invasion of Ukraine is also immoral and unjustifiable. I don't justify it. I think it's fucked up. Do you understand? But Israel is not simply trying to stop the Hamas scourge. Israel is very actively trying to ethnically cleanse this land This land that it occupies already as a sovereign state. Russia does not occupy the entirety of Ukraine as it's carpet bombing Ukrainian cities. You know, there's a difference, right? Well, I guess there's no difference for you because you're a disgusting little gremlin who actually doesn't care. I do care about Ukrainian lives. You don't care about Palestinians. That's the difference. Have you already seen this from Politico about you, by the way? What the fuck is this? Yes, I just read it. I feel like this is engagement bait. He's not a kingmaker. He's never claimed to be, just a voice of reason and rational thought. Yeah, there is no like Russian Kojat that actually calculates the amount of calories that every individual Ukrainian gets to eat. Okay? There is one for Israel. Israel has hermetically sealed Palestine. Israel has militarily occupied Palestinian existence and ethnically cleansed hundreds of thousands of Palestinians over 80 fucking years. There's no real comparison between the two. Now, the real problem here is whether Russia is invested in a genuine, long-standing ceasefire with Ukrainians or not. That's the real question. I don't know. In any case, doesn't really matter. That chatter wasn't actually invested in the truth at all. That chatter was just in here to show people how fucking immoral he is. Like he thinks this gives him moral permission, right? Russia is trying to absorb Ukraine and wipe out Ukrainian identity, but it wants to do so by making Ukrainians into Russians. Israel wants to take over Palestine and kill and expel every Palestinian who lives there. Exactly. Most are immoral, some of the worst crimes of the modern day, but they aren't identical in the dynamics. Exactly. Exactly. This doesn't justify the other, by the way. This is not a justification for Russian irredentist action. Not even a little bit. Okay? But there are differences. But regardless, that person doesn't care about my interest in this at all. That person doesn't care about anything, as a matter of fact. He's just in here to talk shit. He's in here to be like, see, this is why I no longer am anti-genocide. Okay, well then you're a fucking piece of shit. If you are willing to entertain your lack of support for a people that are being genocided in broad daylight with unlimited support from the Western world, support that could have gone to Ukraine, mind you, but is it now being wasted away in Israel in this offensive genocidal conquest, right? If you're that invested in Western supremacy, if you're that invested in murdering Muslims wholesale across the board, no matter where it's happening, then you don't need my permission. You don't need me to tell you that you're fine. You're allowed to hate the Palestinians. You've already decided that you're a fucking piece of shit anyway. You're a monster. Anyway. Where else? What was I going to talk about? What else was going on? Oh, here. Do you guys want to know why fucking California takes so long to count votes? Here's Alex on the scene of the crime.
Why does it take so long to count ballots in California compared to other states? Well, essentially, California leaders have made the decision that it's more important to give more people more time to make last-minute votes than it is to count quickly, where other states have said it's more important to count quickly and not necessarily give people as many options to vote at the last minute. So in California, you can turn your ballot in up until the very last day. As long as it is postmarked by Election Day, there's up to 7 days for that to come to a vote processing center like this one to be counted. Also, we mail ballots to every single registered voter in the state. Right now, about 80% of voters return their ballots by mail. Each one of them has to go through a signature verification process. If there's a problem in the signature verification process, then you're alerted and you have 10 days to fix that process to come what's called cure your ballot. All that takes time. Eventually, all those ballots come here where they are officially counted. But the whole process takes about 3 weeks, which is longer than most states who don't do most of that. And by the way, have a lot less people. LA County alone has 5.9 million registered voters, which is more voters than 41 other states. So there's a lot of vote by mail. There's a lot of steps to prevent fraud. And all that takes a lot of time, which is why California moves so slow. To speed up that process would include changing the laws in order to make that happen. But because of that, we haven't changed the laws. Right now, we do not know who's advancing in the race for LA mayor or the race for California governor.
It is pretty wild. It is pretty fucking wild. Dude. I guess it kind of makes sense because it's so large, right? The state is so large. It's so vast that it takes like 3 weeks to fully figure out who won anything. It's also tough to try and project the winner too. I guess they can for someone who's like very clearly like Karen Bass is already projected to advance, right? And also projected not to hit 50%. So that's why there's a runoff. When I said to my dad about California voting, if you vote in person or on election day by poll close time, that's the moment your vote leaves your custody. A mail vote postmarked by E-Day or dropped in a box before poll time leaves your custody at the exact moment as well. There's absolutely no reason to restrain certain methods of voting at arbitrary points because you're then implying that an in-person vote is more valid than a mail or drop-off vote, which adversely discriminates. Okay, yeah. Okay, nerd, we get it. How does your dad feel about you actively door knocking for a vicious anti-Semite? Huh? Well, you're also a VIP in the community of another vicious anti-Semite. Anyway, Marshy Moo, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah, rebellious face for MAGA-phonics. So yeah, that's the California vote tabulation system. And it is very, very long and convoluted. Hasan Piker and Giannis Varoufakis banned for insufficient support of genocide. Yeah, this is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing this convo with Giannis Varoufakis. Anyway, let's get to this. The Knicks, baby. I already covered it earlier, but here, we'll just watch it again, I guess. Fucking New York. You know what? Actually, I'm skipping it. Fuck that.
It's a bad time for free speech in Britain. Last weekend, 2 controversial American left-wing influencers, Cenk Uygur and his nephew Hasan Piker, were blocked by the British government from entering the country.
Of course, it was supposed to be in London today, but as you might have heard, that didn't work out that way.
No matter what your thoughts are on what these men stand for, Britain was wrong to ban them. It's a bad look for a country that sees itself as the birthplace of free speech. The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, claimed that the presence of Piker and Uygur may not be conducive to the public good. This extraordinarily vague standard appears to be increasingly used to ban commentators whose views the government simply doesn't welcome. In April, it was used to stop Kanye West from performing at a music festival because of his history of unhinged Nazi ramblings. And in May, it was deployed to block several far-right influencers from participating in a rally organized by the white nationalist Tommy Robinson.
I got banned from England by Keir Starmer and all of the corrupt politicians because my words have more power and influence than any of their policies ever will.
The Home Secretary is afforded a lot of discretionary power in these decisions. It should be used sparingly.
And there should be a transparent process. Like that's what's so crazy about it, right? That's what's so crazy about it, where people are just like, why did this happen? And we're forced to speculate. And obviously, like, in my instance, it's like pretty, pretty obvious what took place. And it's the same with like Kanye West. Obviously, he was literally pro Adolf Hitler and shit, right? But like, but even then, like, the reason why transparency is a must is because if they were to turn around and be like, oh, because he's a vicious anti-Semite, look, that's why we banned Kanye. Well, all of a sudden, you now have an argument, which means we can counter it by posting the Oxford Union speech to be like, oh, really? That's interesting, because here is 45 minutes of him talking about the dangers of growing anti-Semitism in the UK, inside of the UK, at the Oxford Union. Kind of ridiculous to say this guy's a fucking anti-Semite, no? But the lack of transparency in this process is what allows the British government to continue getting away with doing shit like this. And it's very dangerous because this is a huge move. Mahmoud unironically believed that allowing Maccabi Tel Aviv fans into Birmingham was perfectly fine, by the way. Luckily, they never made it there. I know. They fought hard to ensure that the Maccabi Tel Aviv hooligans are allowed in, even though they're notoriously dangerous and do actually cause violence wherever they go. They do like pogroms and race riots wherever they fucking go.
Of course there's a line. Direct and deliberate incitement to violence is rightly unlawful. But hurtful, disturbing, disgusting views do not meet the bar. Hasan Piker has many opinions that reasonable people might find offensive.
I'm a harm reduction voter, I'm a lesser evil voter, and therefore I would vote for Hamas over Israel every single time.
Or simply bonkers, but he does not pose a threat to Britain.
Bonkers.
Britain gave sanctuary to Karl Marx.
Yeah.
We should not be frightened of one of his more superficial disciples.
Superficial disciple? What the fuck?
The UK is not the only country that uses visa bans to keep out speakers its government dislikes.
Yo, I hate this new meta of right-wingers going on their newspapers, their like reactionary newspapers, and be like, yeah, I fucking hate this guy. He's an idiot. He's a dumb phony, a real piece of shit. Also a radical terrorist, but we should still let him speak. That's fucked up. You're not even a real communist. But they would say that about Karl Marx too. Today's tender leftists would literally say that about Karl Marx. They'd be like, oh, he participated in the stock market? Oh, wow, that's fucking counter-revolutionary. The fuck do you mean? He had stocks.
America, Australia, Germany, and many others do the same. But that's no excuse. The government should stop using its powers so casually. And in any case, preventing controversial people from entering the country will not stop Britons from hearing their views. Google searches in Britain for Piker and Yuga are already higher than they've ever been. Ultimately, the government's job is to keep people safe from actual violence, not to try to shield them from words that might upset people. With free speech under siege around the world, it's shameful that Britain wants a battle.
Ultras as of today would have been all up Engels' ass for being a hypocrite who deserved the gallows. Yeah, of course, Engels, a factory owner. I mean, he was bourgeois. It's fucking ridiculous. Karl Marx, also not one with the streets, an academic, a thinker. Who gives a fuck? That's obviously not a real working class revolutionary. Get the fuck out of here. All he did was freeload off of his factory owner, best friend, and possible lover. Fidel Castro was a lawyer. Che Guevara, doctor. These are people who are, you know, they're well educated. It's fucking bullshit. What was Che doing? Driving around? He's Argentinian driving around on a motorbike? They don't know shit. Yeah, they were PMC scum. Fidel Castro and Che Guevara were professional managerial class scum.
bastion of tolerance and vigorous debate, is now trying to stifle it.
We can speak now to Cenk Uygur, who joins us from Los Angeles.
Marks and angles were in at parties and democratic process fucking phonies, yeah.
Of course, you're not on our time zone because you're not here and have stayed up late for us. Good evening to you there. Good morning from London. Can you tell us when and how exactly you learnt about this decision?
Okay, I'm skipping this.
And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, President Trump's cabinet on Capitol Hill delivering what is a master class on how to deal with unhinged radical Democrats. Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, absolutely embarrassing several left-wing radical lawmakers. We have the highlights of that all coming up straight ahead. And later, I'll give you my take on so-called journalist Scott Pelley, who was fired by CBS News and is now free to be himself.
Damn, dude, these guys have totally dropped all notion of you know, ideological consistency, any investment in like their peers, like defending their rights of their peers. I do feel like it is now a bygone era where newscasters would at least be like, well, you know, I disagree with Scott Pelley's statements vehemently, but I will always fight to death his right to say what he feels is true. Like, it's now a knife fight. It's this partisan knife fight where everybody just goes, nah, fuck him. Fuck him. It's crazy to see this. Like, this is a well-respected journalist that was the face of fucking 60 Minutes for a decade plus. What do you mean? It's totally valid to just shank him like this. Like, it's expected because these guys are charlatans. They've always been charlatans. But even then, I'm kind of shocked. It's shocking to watch it unfold, even if you expect it to happen. Yes, I saw Javier Bardem shared it. I saw. I can't believe I would see the day. I guess it's good that I got banned from the UK. It was worth it at the end. Anyway, he noticed me. I DM'd him again. I had DM'd him prior. He noticed me, but did not see my DM. Weren't you at a party with him? Yes, I was at the Vanity Fair's Oscar after party, and I was too shy to talk to him there because I love him. A titan. We got to get him on the pod now. What I don't get is why they're comparing Hasan and Cenk is doing. Going to a university to give speeches even comparable to right-wing influencers traveling abroad to go to protests, like protests that aren't their own country by their own country. Yes. Yes, protests that are designed specifically to foment violence against certain marginalized groups too.
Left hack in love with himself. Maybe MSDNC is next. But we begin tonight with the troubling news for the Democratic Party. Across this country, Democrats, they are now desperately counting on a very strong midterm election so they can stay relevant and not completely lose their sanity. But a big new poll from Marquette, it should serve as a dire warning to Democrats. In just 1 month, the Democrats' lead on the generic congressional ballot has been completely wiped out, a 9-point swing in favor of Republicans. The only apparent reason, Americans are now slowly learning about some of the extreme candidates the Democrats are not only running but protecting and defending and endorsing. Now, we'll get to some big developments surrounding Graham Platner and James Tallarico in a moment, and we'll get reaction from Pennsylvania Senator, seemingly the only Democrat with common sense left, John Fetterman, who just called Platner a creep, and he is. But first, I want to introduce you to
the only Democrat with some common sense remaining is a guy whose brain faculties are just not working. Like, and his brain is doo-doo. His brain is mush. He can't even speak. He's a stroke victim. And his faculties have diminished in a way that we can see, in a way that we can observe.
A congressional candidate from New Jersey's 12th district who just won last night's primary. His name is Adam Hamawy. Now, he might well be the new face of the Democratic Party, backed by AOC, the Squad. He is a devout socialist with an obsessive hatred for the world's only Jewish state, and that's not all. In 1994, Hamawy proudly volunteered for an organization detailed.
He didn't mention me, and I think there's a reason for that. Maybe he will later in the video. Oh, he does. Okay, never mind. I wonder if he will bring up the fact that we were supposed to debate, because he's ducking me right now. He's ducking me. Sean! Stop ducking me, Sean!
Oh, and that report, it was called the 9/11 Commission Report, as a group that, quote, covertly provided.
It's pretty crazy, by the way, because, like, my man, Adam Hamawy, was a 9/11 first responder.
Provided financial and other support for terrorist activities. Now, during a raid on its offices overseas, government agents, quote, uncovered weapons, letters from al-Qaeda leaders, and a photo of Osama bin Laden himself. Now, before Hamawy's involvement with that organization, he became associated with a notorious al-Qaeda operative. You might recall Andy McCarthy prosecuted this case, the blind sheikh case, who was ultimately a guy that died in prison, but not before Hamawy testified on his behalf in court. We'll have more on that in a moment. More recently, in 2024, Hamawy volunteered in a hospital in Gaza, just months before Israeli forces located a key Hamas tunnel system directly under the hospital building. And tonight, in a statement, Hamawy's campaign referred to reports about his alleged extremist ties gross and bigoted, and cited his military service and rescue efforts after 9/11. But keep in mind, Hamawy just appeared with Hasan Piker. America deserved 9/11. Remember that guy? And called for the American military complex to be dismantled, along with ICE, of course. Take a look.
Yeah, American military industrial complex must be dismantled. That's not like, why would you say that out loud? That's not a bad position. That's not a radical position. That's a good position. That's a fair position. And same with ICE. It's like a popular fucking position. The MIC being dismantled, unironically, is one that transcends beyond political boundaries too. Like, it's not partisan. It's bipartisan amongst the masses. It's bipartisan in Congress that it must remain intact, and there's bipartisan support amongst the masses across party boundaries.
We are spending $1 trillion, on our defense / Department of War / Department of War crimes now, and what we need to do is spend that in healthcare and spend it in
I think
education.
It's pretty wild, by the way, that the next congressperson from New Jersey 12 is a person that has literally said, like, we are doing war crimes, right? Like, it is now the Department of War is now the Department of War Crimes. Like, that kind of stuff moves the needle in a pretty dramatic way. I think we are forgetting that even the most, like, bold, most radical Democrats, they rarely say stuff like this. It's true, but a lot of Democrats shy away from actively criticizing the military-industrial complex or the actions of the military in general, right?
We need to abolish ICE, and so not only do we need to abolish it, but we need to dismantle the DHS completely.
Now, the Democratic Party has never been more extreme, and it's about to get even worse. Here now with the full report, our very own Kevin Corke. We give him the...
This guy's awesome.
Well, challenging assignments, you know, examining the mindset of crazy people. But anyway, that's my commentary, not yours, Kevin, in D.C. tonight.
Great to see you, my friend. Now, Hamawy did win a crowded Democratic primary in New Jersey's 12th. He's obviously the heavy favorite to win in the general come November. But the victory, Sean, is renewing scrutiny about his past relationship with, among others, Omar Abdel Rahman, a.k.a. the Blind Sheik, the radical cleric convicted on terrorism-related charges, whose followers, you may recall, carried out the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Now, his critics, Hamawy's, say voters deserve to know why a future lawmaker, most likely, chose to support a figure at the center of one of America's most infamous terrorism cases. Worse, he's backed by the so-called squad in Congress, adding to an increasingly troubling pattern within the Democrat Party. Here's a party, Sean, where there's an operative who allegedly volunteered with an al-Qaeda-linked group. There's also a Senate candidate and
Yeah, by the way, it's really funny to do this when, you know, Jolani is in the White House shaking hands with the president. It's like, big dog, you know who else actually is hyping up former Al-Qaeda operatives, like directly, working with them directly? We are, the American government, always, but certainly as of late. Like, you're literally shitting on a doctor who saved the lives of thousands of victims of Al-Qaeda in 9/11, on 9/11, okay? That's what makes this so insane. It's just like, it doesn't matter. You can straight up be a superhero, okay? Because Adam Hamawy is, right? And even then, none of that matters. You're Muslim, you're anti-Israel, you're a fucking terrorist. Like, this dude was dodging IEDs, okay? Was literally sewing back together thousands of American soldiers that the Republicans and many of the Democrats sent overseas to go fucking explode, okay, on Iraqi soil. He saved the life of Tammy Duckworth. And it doesn't matter. None of it matters. When Zaid is right, he's right regarding Muslim candidates. One solution to all of this is Democrats only nominate overachieving Muslims from now on, because with the bar so high for brown candidates, Syed and Mamdani have no actual scandals. Yeah. It was supposed to be a scandal that Mamdani didn't march in a parade for a foreign country that hates him. That's how desperate they are for scandals in New York City right now. The one woke thing I agree with is that a true minority has to be better than a white person to hack it at many jobs, because they're judged with a double standard. Ain't no black or brown Trump. An Indian man finally spent some money on clothes and his grooming, and this is what he gets. Yeah, he's gay as hell. That beard ain't fooling no one.
Is this them trying to set a bill for the
Also, as far as like Ilhan Omar's quote unquote litany of scandals goes, it's the same faucet of misinformation and unlimited barrage of attacks that she has been the recipient of for almost a fucking decade for the crime of being a hijabi Muslim black woman who happens to be on the right side of history, okay? This is how it always goes. They will say some of the most heinous shit about you. And it's doubly fucked if you're also visibly Muslim, if you're a black woman who's also a hijabi. You're gonna receive unlimited attacks, okay? That's it. That's it. It's just like, this is why I always have stood by. This is why I've always stood by people like Ilhan Omar, especially, not only because they are ideologically closest to me, but also because I know that they are being viciously and mercilessly attacked by not just reactionary media, not just Fox News, not just New York Post, but even from liberal media as well. Either liberal media will overlook these attacks and will allow it to continue with no pushback, no counter messaging, no counter signaling whatsoever, or they will participate in it. The expectation is always that you are supposed to be perfect. And even if you are perfect or close to perfect, I mean, Abdullah Sayed, pretty close to perfect, right? They will still try to find something. They will always do everything in their power to just be like, no, you can't trust this guy. He's not trustworthy. He's brown. He's Muslim. Not trustworthy at all.
We'll talk